Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Historical crime drama from the mind of Elliot Lewis. The program called Crime Classics. And this particular episode was originally broadcast March 17th, 1954. The episode entitled Old Sixtoes, How He Stopped Construction on the BBC.
Good evening. This is Crime Classics. I am Thomas Hyland with another true story of crime. Listen. A maiden's laughter. A maid of India with bells on her feet that jingle when she runs. She's having a lovely time. The picnic's been a great success, and now her husband's chasing her through the tall grass. Here he comes. For an older man, he's got a pretty good stride. And before she knew it, he had his wife circling around an almond tree. Caught her. Then the thing that ruined the picnic for everybody. Jealousy lurking nearby with a sledgehammer. Tonight, my report to you on Old Sixtoes, How He Stopped Construction on the BBC and I.
Crime Classics, a series of true crime stories taken from the records and newspapers of every land, from every time. Your host each week, Mr. Thomas Hyland, connoisseur of crime, student of violence, teller of murders. Now once again, Mr. Thomas Hyland.
In 1880, the Great Sepoy Rebellion was already just a memory, and those who had lived through the 100 days of lance and torch and British Square had settled back with a tight little smile, waiting. Queen Victoria had been proclaimed Empress, and Lord Dundridge was saddling his first pony in the cool gardens outside Bombay. And to the west and south, Konkan province was welcoming spring. The soft winds up from the Gulf were cooling, and set asway the temple bells. Of other bells, however, those small ones held to the ankles of Boggy with golden wires, she set them asway herself. She seemed to always be running, from this task to that, from this person to that, on this mission or that. And one day she was noticed, and admired, and bargained for.
I have seen her, and am told you are her father.
As I am.
Has she been spoken for?
Many times. The young men of the village all...
Young men.
They have youth. What have you?
What I gave my youth for. Wealth.
And what would you give for my daughter, Bahi?
2 goats.
2 bullocks and a field to till. My daughter dances lightly to whatever music may be.
If I give you this, then I shall be poor.
If you be poor, then work. My daughter will wait home for you to kiss away the pain of toil. My daughter is slender as the reeds on the river, and as pliant. My daughter's voice is as the lute, and her hands are wings.
Enough.
Then it is done.
Done.
Baggy! Baggy! Come! Baggy, bow to your husband. Now, greet him.
I have waited long, my lord. Command me.
Command her he did, to dip 3 times in scented water, which was the custom, for they were to be wed this night, to bind her hair in the manner prescribed, to spend the appointed hour with her mother, the appointed hour with her father, and thus, anointed with fragrant oils and wisdom, to come to him in the place of marriage. And the vows were taken, And they were wed, and went to the hut of the newly married of the village, and removed their shoes before entering.
Beloved,
Yes,
you have 6 toes.
since birth.
A good omen, husband.
Bagi, beloved,
Yes,
draw closer.
your command. Oh, husband.
First, a thing.
What?
In the village I come from, far to the north, a ritual which guaranteed identity.
I do not understand.
Identity, beloved, in case you forget who you belong to.
But...
Therefore, these I show you, beloved. Ochre, sienna, vermilion, and a needle.
For what reason?
The tattooing of love.
Please, please do not.
I command it. Be still! Yes. You may ask why I, Sonu, formerly of wealth and station, now hold spikes so that they may be driven by you into the ties which hold the rails. You may ask why I, Sonu, formerly of wealth, am now but an employee of the Bombay, Bengal, Calcutta, and Indian Railroad. You may wonder these things, and I will tell you. I have traded wealth for greater wealth. The lands which I had and the animals, these I bartered for a bride. And such a bride. A child of 18 summers who is called Baki. Friend Ondu, muscular youth, wielder of the great hammer while I hold, come home with me, and I will show her to you. Will you come home with me?
Yes.
More wine, Dondu?
Well,
Of course he wants more wine. Fill high his cup. Have I not said it, Dondu? This treasure.
truly.
Sir,
Yes?
and what do you do on the railroad?
Well,
Marvelous things. With his hammer all day long he drives deep the spikes. More spikes and deeper than anyone else.
Oh,
Pour high my cup again. Weary and toil.
this is wine will soothe, husband. Drink.
Good wine. Good treasure.
Sir,
yes?
the arms of yours could lift him as if he were a child and place him upon his bed.
Yes.
His bed is here. Sleep well, honored husband, toiler, bringer of bread to this happy house.
Aggie,
I know.
let us walk to where the night will wash over us.
I want to.
Come then.
Do you love me?
With all the might and passion that is the strength of me.
My husband has 6 toes.
It is written that this is a good omen. A man with 6 toes is said to be blessed.
In this way, he has brought you to me.
Tarry here.
They tarried, and the moon swung over from where it was and became for that brief time their moon, as did all the marvelous things of the night. And Boggy forgot all the vows she made to Sonu and made new vows to Dondu.
Forever, always, always and forever.
And Dondu made promises to her.
Tomorrow night, when the old man is asleep.
Here, forever, always, always and forever.
Which goes to prove, I suppose, that railroading men have a certain fascination all over the world. And Dondu of the BBC and I was certainly one who gave rise to the legend.
Baggy,
Forever.
there is a thing. Listen to what I say.
Yes?
This is wrong.
What is?
You are bride to an old man.
What evil bird hammers at your brain where conscience is so that you say our love is wrong?
Did you not hear it? You are bride to this old man.
Then you want done with our love?
No.
Then what?
If you were widow,
If I were widow?
we would not sneak about as children who do evil tricks.
True.
Think of it, then. If you were widow.
Done do?
Yes,
I want to be.
and so you shall. So you shall.
And when they reached the village on the edge of it, where they said goodbye, they were startled for a moment. Suddenly it was morning, and they looked and they saw. The sky was blood red.
You are listening to Crime Classics, and your host, Thomas Hyland.
March 17th, 1954, Crime Classics on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
Now more of Crime Classics, true stories of crime adapted from the newspaper accounts of the day, and I'm sure a little fictionalization along the way. March 17th, 1954.
Each country has and is proud of its own history of railroading. It may come as a surprise to some that laying track in India has a lore unparalleled in railroading annals. To give you a hint, there's a saying out of Bombay that never did the tigers eat so good as when the BBC and I put down a steel through South Konkan, the place that concerns us here tonight. Consider the feat, if you will. 116 miles of rail through jungle, swamp, and wasteland. A body died there for every cross-tie. 116 miles of rail plunging progress from Taj Pahor to the sea. And, two-thirds of the way, the living legend of a man, Nandu. And at his feet, holding the spikes, an old man with a young wife.
Nandu, tarry a minute. Say the truth to me.
Of what?
Of my wife.
What of her?
Is she not beauteous?
Yes.
I see how you look at her.
Oh?
As young brother to me, happy for my happiness.
Yes. So no.
Yes.
The next spike. Sight it well. Get close to it and line it.
Yes.
Bring your head closer to it, old man, and make sure.
Midday and time for meal. Why do you stand with hammer poised over your head? What? The whistle has blown. Come, let us eat.
Yes. Let us eat. Tired, old man?
You are young. You would not know a sigh of happiness if you heard it.
Oh?
For I have just breathed one.
Oh.
Look how neatly my bride, my joy, my treasure has made for me my lunch. Grape leaves and chutney and coconuts too. And you, Dandu, what
I bought in the village. The same thing each day. Rice.
Would you like a grape leaf, Dandu?
Well...
I hunger not. Take it.
Well?
I am an old man, and such richness as grape leaves and chutney does not agree with me. In truth, I would prefer rice, but I would not tell my treasure of it, since she pleasures so in cooking for me.
Well, then take my rice.
What is it? What?
That was the young man falling over on his face, because the old man's wife had put cobra venom in the chutney, so the old man would die, so she and the young man could pursue their love unencumbered. But the young man, having eaten the poisoned food, became deathly sick. He had eaten a dose that would have killed a less strong man, but he was the mighty Dandu, and he did not die. A month later, he was well enough to tryst, and this he did.
I dared not come to you, Dandu, you know that.
Yes. Lovely one, what do you do?
Kneel to the gods for having preserved you for me.
Add a prayer, then, of your husband.
That he should die.
For my love for you.
For your love for me. Therefore he must die.
And soon.
I will help.
Together, then.
Yes. Oh, yes.
But the precise opportunity never quite arose. Either there was someone near, or within calling distance, or the old man didn't rise to the bait. There was one night when the bride put a crate, a small and deadly snake, into Sanu's bed, on the very night that Sanu elected to sleep in a hammock outside. Something always seemed to go awry.
I cannot stand him. He must die, or I shall.
There is a festival next week for us at the railroad, for the completed section. There he will die.
I cannot stand him. He must die, or I will.
And the days spun away, and a week, until there came a day of festival. And Mr. Graves of the railroad was concerned that everyone enjoy himself.
And what do you do, sir?
I am a spike holder, sahib.
Each member of our team is as important as the other.
Yes, sahib.
And who is this lovely child by your side?
My wife.
Oh, charming, charming. Rise up, child. Oh, charming, charming, charming. A treasure, sir. You are blessed, sir.
Yes, sahib.
Enjoy yourself.
Yes, sahib.
The BBC and I want you to have a day you'll remember.
Yes, sahib.
Good day, then.
Baghi, did you hear him?
I heard.
He noticed me.
Yes.
Perhaps
what?
This is the start of something, of position again, and wealth, as I was once wealthy.
Yes.
And perhaps again our own land and a house, and bullocks and servants. Beloved.
What?
In your eyes, am I old?
Oh, no.
Then look at me.
Yes?
What do you see?
Wisdom. A face which has pushed aside youthful folly to become lined with love and gentleness and knowledge.
But now, you...
What of me?
So youthful you are. Do you not sometimes miss the folly of youth?
Not I. But it seems that you do. Then let us be foolish.
How?
I will flee from you and you will chase me.
Yes.
Then catch me. Catch me, Sanu.
You remember, the maiden's laughter, the maid of India scampering over the field, away from the crowd. Not running too fast so her husband can keep her in sight. And the maiden runs toward her lover, who is hiding in the tall grass with a sledgehammer, right near that tree where the old man caught his wife.
And now it is done.
Now it is done.
Hold me, hold me. As if
What?
a great burden had been lifted up from me.
Now you are widow.
And I must grieve. Then I will be bride again.
Yes. Now we will take this one to the place where I have dug his grave, and put this one in it and cover him with tall grass.
The stride of you as you walk, Dondu, the suppleness, the grace, and you belong to me forever. Always, always and forever.
Here. Oh, the old man looks small there on the earth,
I wish to see him no more.
and I will cover him. Maggie,
Yes?
the thing we talked of,
Yes?
do it now.
Yes.
And the conclusion of Crime Classics from March 17th, 1954 follows these important words from your radio station. You're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just two of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Crime Classics from March 17th, 1954.
Help! Help! Oh, help! Help! Someone! He's dead!
Child, what has happened?
Dead!
Dead? Who are you talking about?
My husband!
But what?
Awful!
What happened? Tell me.
There, down there at the river's edge. We were walking there where the bank was moist. He tore the river, and the bank slid away, and he fell in.
You fell into the river?
Yes.
Oh, crocodile.
Do not say it.
Child.
I saw it.
Yes.
I saw it. He slipped into the river, and the current was strong, and then the crocodiles, and the river reddened. And...
Hush, child. Hush.
Now I am widow. Now I am widow.
There was no question about it. Now she was widow, and she observed all the self-denials that ritual called for. For 6 months she went about clad in coarse garments, her skin whitened with ashes, her hair unkempt. And when the allotted time was done, she washed the mourning from her, and got out her best silk sari and the bells again, and went into the village and made it known that she was marriageable again. And it goes without saying that the first young man in line outside her father's hut was a hammerman named Dondu.
And what will you give to me for my daughter? Peace of mind that your daughter is happy. And what will you give to her? My strength.
If I refuse you, my daughter?
There is no refusal. We have looked upon each other and found each other good.
Baggy! Baggy! Come! Baggy?
Bow to your husband. Now, greet him.
I have waited long, my lord. Command me.
I'll help you down, Mr. Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Graves.
Yeah. I don't know why the company bothered to send you all the way out here, Mr. Collins, but...
BBC and I has a reason for everything, Mr. Graves. Now, let's look at it. Why you elected to build the spur right here. Why you have all these people building up a roadbed when you could run the road by way of Mabwa.
You stand here, sir, and see for yourself. Below, you see how the river curves?
Yes.
Yes, like an eel, in the shape of an S. Therefore, it would take 2 bridges to complete...
But the company chart had but one curve.
That's why we have men in the field, sir. Digging.
Have them dig away.
So, then you'll give a proper report of me, sir, with Mr. Glenn?
What's he want? That digger there waving at you.
Well, let's have a look, shall we? Tell Mr. Glenda it's all been well thought out and the spur will be completed before the monsoon. Yes, my man, what is it you want?
Look, sir, where I was digging to provide dirt for the roadbed.
Well, I'll be dreadful. Skeleton.
Dreadful.
No, look there.
Dreadful.
There's a thing.
Yes. 6 toes.
On each foot. Now, there's a thing.
Now, since burning was the manner of disposal of corpses, a skeleton in the ground was something to ponder. A skeleton with 6 toes now. Somebody remembered that an old man named Sonu had 6 toes and a young wife. So the young wife was questioned by the local authority, who happened to be Mr. Graves of the BBC and I.
Child, skull crushed in like that. He did not fall into the river, did he?
I cannot lie.
Yeah, well, then don't.
He did not fall into the river.
Nah, he was murdered.
He was murdered.
By a man of strength, according to the fracture.
By a man of strength.
Your present husband?
Yes.
Yes. You swear to this?
Yes.
You realize that he'll be hanged?
Yes. And what of me? What of me, sire?
When your husband is hanged?
Yes.
I dare say you'll be right by his side.
Her present husband was hanged. Then she was.
Old Sixtoes, tonight's crime classic, was adapted from the original court reports and newspaper accounts by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. The music was composed and conducted by Bernard Herrmann, and the program is produced and directed by Elliott Lewis. Thomas Hyland is portrayed on radio by Lou Merrill. In tonight's story, Jane Webb was heard as Boggy and Herb Butterfield as Sonu. Featured in the cast were Jack Edwards, Ben Wright, and Jack Crucian. Bob Lamont speaking.
From March 17th, 1954, Crime Classics on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. So here's the choice. Some people say the USA is finished. It's evil, a has-been, full of hate and injustice. The U.S. Constitution should be trashed and the Bill of Rights abolished. No free speech, no gun ownership. Competition and free markets are bad. We're all too stupid. For our own good, the government must own everything and know all your secrets.
Other people say that America has created the freest, richest, happiest, most generous society that has ever existed in the world. That's why millions of people are desperate to come here and escape their brutal lives in Cuba, Venezuela, North Korea, and 100 other countries.
In America, we have the right to succeed, the right to our own living, the right to have a family, the right to believe in God, the right to have our own ideas, the right to be safe and secure, and the right to be left alone.
Where do you stand? Help us save the Constitution and restore the American dream. Go to SaveMyFreedom.com.
Brought to you by the American Media Council.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we go to Pine Ridge, Arkansas, see what's going on with Lum-n-Abner in an episode from March 17th, 1953.
Granny's, Abner. I believe that's our ring.
Hi, Doggy's Lum. I believe you're right.
I'll see. Hello, jot 'em down, store. This is Lum-n-Abner.
And now let's see what's going on down in Pine Ridge.
Hello, folks. This is Dick Huddleston with one for the books. Yesterday, Lum was to be married to the Widder Abernathy on Mose Moot's Pine Ridge Princess program. But the preacher never showed up for the rehearsal, so Lum read the preacher's lines and Cedric substituted for the groom. After the wedding rehearsal, Lum suddenly realized that as Justice of the Peace, he'd actually married Cedric to the Widder. I ain't sure it's legal, but Lum is sticking to it, in spite of the reaction he's getting from Cedric's papa over the phone right now.
Well, stop worrying, Caleb. This is going to turn out all right. Well, now, don't blame me. I never married your son off to the Widder on purpose.
Oh, that Lum's into it.
But, Caleb, we can get Cedric out of this all right.
You better, Caleb will take an anvil to you.
Well, it'll take a couple of days, all that red tape, you know. Well, all we have to do is have the wedding null and avoid it. Well, sure we can.
You hope?
Well, all we got to do is say that Cedric's underage and you never give your permission.
Cedric never give his, neither.
Why, sure, I'll handle it. I'm Justice of the Peace, ain't I? Well, like I say, it'll take about 2 or 3 days to run through all that red tape. Well, don't worry, Caleb. I'll do it. Sure. All right. Goodbye.
Oh, Caleb's pretty mad about this, ain't he?
Oh, he is. Madder than a whip setting him. And I don't blame him a whole lot.
Oh, Doggies, no, me neither. Just imagine all of a sudden having a Widder Abernathy for your daughter. And all them young'uns of hers for grandchildren. I believe if I was Caleb, I'd suicide myself.
And to hear him talk, you'd have thought I married Cedric to the Widder on purpose.
Well, didn't you?
Abner, how many times do I have to tell you I never?
Well, it sure looked like it to me, Lum. You was trying to study up some way to keep from marrying the Widder yourself, and the only way you could figure out how to do it was to marry her to somebody else.
Abner, that's the terriblest thing you've ever accused me of.
Well,
You was right there and saw what happened. The preacher couldn't get there for the rehearsal of the broadcast, so I had to read his lines, and that meant that somebody had to read my lines. And if you recollect, it was you that suggested Cedric.
Doggy, that's right, ain't it? I plumb forgot about that.
Sure. I never realized till after we'd read the wedding ceremony just what we'd done. And then, of course, it was too late.
Well, Lum, after you saw what you'd done, why couldn't you have called it off right then and there?
Well, you heard me tell Caleb that all that red tape you had to go through takes a couple of days, didn't you?
Yeah, but just what is all that red tape you keep talking about?
Well, there's well, I reckon I might as well let you in on a little secret, Abner.
Well, tell me something. I'd love to know what's going on around here.
Well, if you want to know the honest truth, they ain't married at all.
They ain't?
Well, of course not.
Well, they said all the I-do's and all that stuff.
Yeah, but they never had no marriage license.
Huh?
You gotta have one of them to make it official.
Well, I'll be a polka-dotted possum. I plumb forgot about that. Well, here, let me call them up and tell them the good news.
No, don't do that, Abner. You stay away from that phone now.
Well, Lum, it'll get you out of all this hot water you're in. Caleb Weehunt's just about ready to bounce an anvil off your head for getting Cedric married. And the Widder Abernathy's fit to be tied over losing out on you. And Cedric sure ain't happy about it. Moe's Moots is burned up 'cause we had to cancel his Pine Ridge Princess program.
I know all that, but whatever we do, we can't let the widder know she ain't married till midnight tomorrow night.
Midnight tomorrow?
See, that's when the deal on the Pine Ridge Princess show will be up.
Oh.
If I can just get by to Lynn, I won't have to marry the widder. That's according to the rules of the program, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The rules say we have to give her wish in 10 days. The 10 days will be up tomorrow night at midnight.
Oh, so you did plan this whole thing?
No, I never, Abner. Honest, I never. It just come to me after it was done. And whatever you do, don't let the widder find out about not having no license, or I'll be a goner for sure.
Well, what if she thinks of it herself? She's been married before, you know, Lum. She knows about getting a wedding license and such as that.
Well, that's the chance I'm taking. I'm just hoping she's so mad about this whole deal that she won't recollect about the license.
Well, now, what about Cedric? Ain't you going to tell him neither?
Oh, I'd like to, the worst way, but I'm just afeard that he'll blab it all over town, and then the widder will find out.
And in the meantime, he's over at his house trying to figure out what's happened, poor boy.
Well, it's just till tomorrow night, and then I'll tell him, and everybody will be happy.
Yeah, everybody except the widder.
Well, I don't care about her. All I'm interested in is keeping from becoming Mr. Abernathy. And after all the suffering she's caused me, it ain't going to hurt her none to worry about this for a few days.
No, I reckon not.
Our biggest worry right now is keeping Moe's Moose for a sponsor.
It is, huh?
Oh, sure. Ain't no use to have this radio station if we ain't going to have no programs, and we can't have no programs unless we have a sponsor.
No, you're right about that. No.
Fact is, I ought to get down to the barbershop right now and have a little talk with Mose.
Well, does Mose still want to counsel on account of not broadcasting the wedding yesterday?
Oh, yeah, of course he does. But I think I can change his mind.
He can, huh?
Yeah, you watch the store for a while, Abner. I won't be gone long, I don't think.
Well, now, what'll I tell the widder and Caleb Weehunt and all them people keep calling up here?
Just tell them you don't know nothing.
Oh,
which will be the truth.
They won't believe that long.
Well, tell them all you know is that I'm working on it just as hard as I can, trying to get everything straightened out. I'll be back directly. I'll see you later.
Yeah, all right. Hey, wait a minute. There comes the widder now, Lum. Maybe she wants to see you.
Oh, for the land's sakes, don't let her see me. Let me hide somewhere. She's the one person I don't want to run up against right now. I'll go back in the feed room.
But wait a minute. Hold on. She's stopping across the street there talking to somebody.
Good.
Charlie Redfield, I believe. Yeah, that's it. Charlie Redfield.
Granny, and to think I almost had Charlie talk into marrying the widder the other day instead of me.
Yeah. And poor Cedric had to go and ruin the whole thing. Just 'cause he thought you was actual crazy about the widder.
Yeah, that weren't Cedric's fault, though, Abner. He thought I meant it when I said I was crazy about the widder.
Yeah.
Is she still talking to Charlie?
Yeah. Lip of hers flapping like a shutter in a cyclone. Uh-oh, wait a minute. There comes Cedric down the street heading this way. Look, he's crossing over this side of the street. Reckon he don't want to meet his bride face to face.
Yeah, well, that ain't the whole thing. His papa threatened to throw him out of the house if he even speaks to the widder.
He did?
Yeah, well, it'll all be cleared up in a day or two, thank goodness.
Yeah. You know, I think the one that hates this worse than anybody is Cedric's mama. She always did hate and despise a widder. So you can just imagine how she's feeling having her for a daughter-in-law.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And the widder ain't very happy about having a mom-in-law that's younger than she is, neither.
No, I guess not.
Oh, no.
Well, of course, Abner, I told you they ain't actual married, so quit feeling sorry for everybody. Except me. I'm the one that's got to be careful. Is she still beating her gums over there?
Oh, yeah, still going strong. Look at her head bob up and down. You know, I think this is all pretty comical at that, Lum.
Comical?
Why, sure. No, 'cause it would be funny if they actually was married. Can't you just see Miss Abernathy getting her husband, Cedric, ready to go to the third reader every morning?
Oh, yeah, it would be kind of funny, wouldn't it?
She could go down to Luke Spears with him to play the pinball machine. And evenings he could sit around the parlor blowing his bird whistle.
And think how tired she'd get of eating peanut butter sandwiches, chunk style.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Big love him.
Oh, I'm ashamed of myself to laugh, but I just can't help it. Looks right.
And just think all 9 of them young'uns are her sitting on Cedric's lap. Him reading a bedtime story to him. Or I doubt if he can read that much. Yeah, wait a minute. The widder's going on up the street. And Cedric's coming in there.
Well, good. Well, I'll get on down to Moses and get started on some radio business here.
Yeah, all right.
Hello, Cedric. Go on in. Abner's in there. Oh, howdy, Mr. Lowe. Howdy, Mr. Abner.
Come on in, Cedric. How's the happy bridegroom?
Mom?
Where you been, Cedric? Didn't think your mama let you out of the house.
Oh, I've been over at school, sitting with my boys.
Your boys?
Yes, Mom. All the little Abernathy young'uns has changed their name to We Hunt now. The teacher sets us according to our name, so me and my children all sets together now.
Well, that's nice, Cedric.
Well, it's sort of hard for me to get used to 'em calling me Pop all the time, but I'll say one thing, it's handy having 'em there to help me get my lessons.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Of course, it has its drawbacks, too, I reckon.
Oh, yeah, bound to.
See, with as many boys as I've got, I'm going to have to pay for a lot of plates at the father and son banquet.
My doggone, that's right. Maybe they'll have to stick in a couple extra tables, too, I reckon.
But on the other hand, think all the presents I'll get on Father's Day.
Well, you sure got this thing figured out, Cedric.
Oh, yes, Mama. I've been doing a right smart of thinking. There's one thing that's got me kind of tore up, though.
What's that, Cedric?
Well, see, long as I'm a married man now, I'm just feared I'll have to break off my engagement with Clarabelle Seastrom.
Well, natural.
And I hate to do it right now, 'cause this is my month to be engaged to her.
Your month?
Yes, Mom. You see, Gomer Bates and me sort of take turns about being engaged to her.
Oh?
He takes all the months except the ones that's got Christmas and her birthday in them.
Well, them's the month that you have to buy presents for, Cedric.
Yes, Mom, but don't tell Gomer I don't think he's caught on to that yet.
Well, Cedric, don't you see, he just done that to get out of buying stuff for her.
Mom?
I'll be, if I was you, I'd take some other month.
Well, I'm feared I'm going to have to give the whole thing up anyway, as long as I'm a married man now. That Clarabelle gets awful jealous, you know.
Cedric, I'm going to tell you something, but now you got to promise to keep it a secret.
Oh, yes, Mom. Ain't no one thing I love better than secret.
Well, now you got to promise not to tell Lum, I told
you.
Oh,
no, Mom, I won't.
Well, the fact is, Cedric, you really... wait a minute, here comes Lum. Oh, he just left here a couple of minutes ago. Must have forgot something. Thought you was going down to Moe's Moots.
Yeah, I was, but I just heard something that's way on more importance than Moe's Moots.
Huh?
I just bumped into Charlie Redfield, and he said the widder was just telling him she's having a lawyer come out here from the county seat tomorrow.
A lawyer?
Yes, sir. And the first thing he'll ask her is where's the marriage license. And then she'll recollect there weren't none, and that'll leave her free to marry me tomorrow.
Oh, my goodness sakes, alive.
Abner, I don't know how we're going to do it, but grannies, we've got to study up some way to keep that lawyer from ever talking to the widder. Leastways, not until after midnight tomorrow night.
Well, Lum gets himself into the biggest messes, doesn't he? March 17th, 1953, Lum-n-Abner on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Just a reminder that if you miss a day on this radio station, you don't have to miss a single show. All of our shows are available through classicradio.stream, through iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, even through Amazon. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Speaking of my webpage, which is classicradio.stream, you can stream all of our shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting, you can find all of our social media links there, and you can even contact me through there, classicradio.stream. And just a reminder to please thank this radio station and support their advertisers. It is their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you here each and every time we roll through. So please drop them a card or a letter. They'll appreciate it, and so would we. And by all means, tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.